All right. Okay. So we are almost ready to start. We have about 1 more minute. I hope everyone's settling in, getting their rooms, finding, where'd my chat go? Sorry, I lost my chat all of a sudden. Sometimes I lose it with all these monitors. Looks like several of you are in got your rooms started. Okay, so it is 10:30. We are going to get started. Welcome. My name is Karen Goebel. I am a program coordinator with digital learning. So you will see me in anything to do with digital learning, resources, that sort of thing. We do lots of webinars throughout the year. We'll talk about that as we get further into the presentation, but we offer all kinds of trainings and things for teachers looking for anything to do with the digital side of teaching. So I'm one of the program coordinators. We have several of them. We hit lots of different campuses. You'll also see if you're one of our high school or intermediate, you all actually have a digital learning specialist on your campus. So Emily, Kaylee, and I kind of spread out and go to a lot of the elementaries, although we do go to the other schools as well. So welcome. If you want to, oh, you know what? I should have, hold on, I'm going to push escape. Hold on, go back. Because I wanted to go ahead and copy this, and I'm going to put this in the chat, give you all the bit.ly. So there it is. Y'all can copy and paste it, or you can type it into a tab. Now, some of the things that I'm probably going to show you, depending on where you are in that HR hiring process, you may not have all of your Klein stuff up and running yet. The cool thing about this, I'm going to show you when we get to our website at the very end. I'm recording these videos or these webinars, and we will be putting these up so you can go back and watch these videos. You also need access. Oh, is it telling you you don't have access? Hold on. Let me fix that. Oh, let me change that. Hold on. You don't need to request access. I'm actually going to update it so that anyone with the link. So now hit refresh and you should be able to get into it. I'm going to copy and paste that back in. Sorry about that. You know, you make all these things ahead of time, and if you forget, change your access. There you go. So you should be able to get in now. Yep, I see people joining me as well. Okay. So we have in the presentation. I will periodically keep pasting it in if anybody is joining us later. But what I would suggest you do, because you can see my screen up here. Do you see up here in the Omnibox or the address bar where you type the URL? There is a little star. Mine is blue because I actually have clicked that. So I would recommend that you hit that star and turn it blue, and that will bookmark it up here. I actually have little folders and I put things in there, but for now I would go ahead and bookmark this so you don't have to remember my URL to get back to it, because you may want to come back to this presentation after you have been given all of your access. I'm not sure, you know, how many of y'all already have access to all the Klein resources as well. All right, so we're going to go ahead and get started. The only thing I'm going to ask that these are here, y'all have my presentation, y'all can go back and look. I just ask that you please stay muted unless you need to like call out and tell me something or say I am. I do have the chat up as well, so I'm going to be kind of monitoring that. But the other question we get a lot of times is how are we going to get attendance? The Zoom does record you being in here and gives me a report. So we will have that as well to document that you did attend. So you have probably seen this already. We're going to go on through this, but our promise to purpose, Klein, every student will enter with a promise and exit with a purpose. And we're going to be focusing on that reimagined learning and being able to use Google to personalize and reach all of your students. And actually, I'm going to go to the next slide. Let me hit present for just a minute. So we're going to explore ways to use Google to innovate, connect, share, and enhance learning. We're also going to be leveraging that technology so that we reach all of our students. Now, when you think about Google, I love using Google. Actually, I have used Google now for, I guess the district's now been using it since 2014. And I pretty much, I will just say it is extremely rare for me to ever go into Microsoft and use Word or all of that. I love the fact that I don't have to remember to save. I love that I can share and we collaborate and we share folders. Our team, we have folders that we share in, and we're constantly collaborating and working on the exact same documents. I love that we have unlimited storage and that I can access this from anywhere. I actually, a lot of times, will look at Google on my phone as well. That's your personal preference, whether you want to connect your drive to, hold on, I'm going to put the link again in the chat in case anybody's just joined us. But some people don't want to put Google on their work Google on their phone, but that's up to you. But I do like that I can pretty much get to it anywhere. All right. Well, what's going on? There we go. So one thing we're going to talk about first, and I'm going to, you'll notice that a lot of times I'll just present from this screen instead of the full present. But when you get into Klein and you sign into Chrome, a lot of people don't realize that these are actually two different things. Being signed into your Drive and signing into Chrome are two separate things. And I'm actually going to open a new tab, and it may be that you can't see my picture very well, but you'll notice that there's two pictures here. This bottom one, and we have a lot of teachers that will just sign into this one at the bottom. That's actually your Google Drive. You want to be very careful about linking your personal Google Drive here. But this one at the top is where it shows that you're actually signed in to Chrome. When you first, and I'm going to actually pull this presentation, the first time you log into your computer and you open up Chrome, you're going to notice that it just shows the silhouette of a person here. It won't show your initial, it won't show your pictures. Let me, you will need to connect your Klein Google Drive, or excuse me, your Klein Chrome account up here at the top. All right. So when we think about G Suite, this is what you're going to see. This little icon that you see right here, it's just the silhouette of a person, and it will be there. If any of you are seeing that up there at the top, that just means you're not linked to your Klein Google account, and you need to do that. One other thing that you're going to want to do, and we're going to go over these steps, and that's actually why I have linked this presentation in here so that you all can get to that presentation as well, so that when later you need to do this, because like I said, some of you may not have gone through the HR process enough that you have your Klein accounts set up yet. So you'll need to do this once you get to that. You will want to make your default browser as Chrome. Eduphoria, Schoology, most of the things that we use work much better when you're connected to Chrome. So you will want to do most of your schoolwork. I was going to say, I never use Edge, and I very rarely will I go to Firefox and use that. But for the majority of everything that we use, Chrome is going to be your best bet. Usually when you open Chrome for the first time, you're going to see this little box that pops up, and it'll say set it as your default. We have a little YouTube video that will show you how to do that as well. But then once you do that, the next thing you're going to need to do is you're going to need to click on that person that you see up there, and then you're going to hit turn on sync. Then the next thing it's going to ask you to do is you're going to enter your Klein email address. And then now, starting this year, we have the Klein dashboard, which we'll explore a little bit in just a minute. But you will want to sign into that dashboard, and you'll just put in your Klein username and your password. And for me, it's just Goebel. You don't even have to put your full email address. You just put that first part of your email address in there with your username, and then you'll put in your password. You'll hit sign in. The next thing you're going to see is that it's going to say, is this really you? And it's going to show your email address there, and you'll say continue. And then you're going to want to say link data. This gets to be important when you start moving around, and you might be on this device today, but say your computer breaks and you are at another campus and you want to use a computer that they have. Linking the data is what brings in all of your bookmarks. A lot of times I'll be working on my home computer at home, and I'll bookmark something, and I'll want it to show up when I get to work. If I don't take my laptop home, most of the time you will, but just trying to give you different scenarios. So you will want to say link the data. And then the last thing you'll notice is that it will start to show that you're now logged in. Like for me, I have changed my profile picture up here. If you have not set up that for the first time users, you'll end up seeing a initial there. And you can always come in and click there and update and add a picture if you would like to at a later time. But this is just very important to remember that you really, if you still see that person there, you're not getting the full benefit of being in. Please share the last, which one? This bit.ly, right? Somebody asked for the bit.ly, this one, because it's in the presentation I'm doing. You can click here. Or are you talking about, because the person is, I think it's Nadia. There is the whole presentation for this. Do you need this? I just want to make sure I know which bit.ly you're requesting from me. Okay, but we do have this in here. I'm gonna go ahead and put this bit.ly in there as well, if that's the one on the screen. Yeah, if you're in my presentation, that is an active link, and you should be able to click on it here as well in that presentation. All right. It says that you don't have access to my presentation. And the reason that's going to give you that is if you have not set up your Klein, it's not going to give you access, because you have to be logged in to this Chrome. You have to be into your work presentation to get it. Let me go back to this. Let me show you. See how it says Klein users are the ones that can view this presentation. I'm going to go ahead and change it for right now and change it off of Klein to anyone for right now. Typically, we leave things just to Klein people so that it's not out all over the place. But there. Then it will start to work after. I'll change it back after NEO is over so y'all can get that. But once you end up getting into your full Klein account, you will have access to all of that. All right. So any questions about single sign-on with Google? And the importance of making sure, as y'all just saw, because y'all aren't yet in Klein fully, you won't be able to access all the documents if you're not connected and signed in to that Klein account. Okay. All right. The next thing I want to talk about is the dashboard. I'm going to go out of this and, I need to actually be here. So now you're seeing my Klein dashboard here, or this, the internet. You're going to want to sign into this dashboard. Now, as I was saying, same as with Klein, if you don't have your full credentials yet, you're not going to be able to do this. So the good thing about this is you have access to this presentation, so you can go back once you get access and do all of these things. But when you go into the dashboard and you log in, it's going to ask you to sign in. You're going to sign in with your username and password. You're going to say sign in. One thing I want to show you is that you're going to want to connect your Google Drive to the dashboard. So let me go back to this presentation. I have the steps here that you'll have access to, and you'll be able to do this later if you don't have the access now. But once you're signed in, you're going to want to go to these 3 dashes up here. You're going to click this and you're going to go to My Files. Once you click My Files here, now I've already connected mine, but you'll go down to where it says Manage Services. And when you click that, you're going to see your Google Drive eventually here. Hold on. I don't know why. There he goes. So, oh, it tells me I'm not connected. I was connected yesterday, but this is good. So y'all can actually see the spots. I did change my password yesterday and it did knock my access out. So that's probably why it didn't hold it. But you're going to click here and you're going to say connect. When this pops up, it's very important you make sure that that shows your Klein. Do not try to connect your personal drive here, or it's going to get all messed up. You want to make sure that you're seeing. That's why earlier I said it's very important that you connect that Google Drive or Google Chrome and all that there. I'm going to click this, and then I'm going to say that class link, I'm going to allow them access. Now, why would I want to do this? Because now you see my Google Drive right here. If I'm at home and I need to get to something in my drive, I can actually access it this way by clicking on this, and it's going to show my whole Google Drive. Give it a second. It's kind of slow. Here, for some reason, it's a little slow. Let me try that one more time. It's spinning. But there you go. So I can now get in and see all of my files from my home computer if I need to access that as well. So we've talked about the importance of you connecting this to your Klein account. And remember, these are 2 different things. Now, what the good thing about this is if I connect this top one first, it will automatically connect my Google Drive. But if I just connect my Google Drive, it will not connect me up here. So I always like to tell teachers, start with this one, do this one first. And we had those instructions there. Then the next thing you're going to do once you get fully into Klein and you've got access to everything and the dashboard, you'll want to connect your Google Drive in the dashboard. All right. Any questions about that? So it looks like we've talked about that. The next thing I want to go over, and let me go back here. I want to make sure, because the last link I shared was this. I'm going to make sure everyone has this. I want to put this one again into the chat so everyone has that NEO presentation. All right. So the next thing I want to talk about is how to manage this drive, because I'm going to tell you all, when I started 8 years ago in Google, it didn't take but about 6 months till my Google Drive was a big mess. I mean, it was new for the whole district. It was new for me. You know, I just started throwing things in there. So take it from me, while you still have a Google Drive that is empty, start thinking about how you want to organize this drive. So I'm going to actually go to my drive, and I actually have mine bookmarked right up here. We'll talk about that in just a second so I can get to it. But here it is. It's in here. You're going to see I have lots of folders, and these are actually only my starred folders. If I go to my whole drive, it just keeps going and going and going. These are folders that I'm in fairly often, so I have them starred. But one thing I want to show you is once you start using this drive, the best thing you're going to want to do is think about how you're going to search that drive. Up here at the very top, what the mistake I see a lot of people make is they'll just click in here and they just start typing. So maybe I'm looking for something on onboarding, which is what we've been working on. And I just hit enter. It's just going to bring up lots of things with that title in there. And you can see it's trying, look at how many things. What you're going to want to start doing is you're going to want to use these little lines that they have here, these search options. So when I click this, now I have the way of narrowing it down. Maybe I want to only see presentations, and maybe I only want to see presentations that have been shared with me by Kaylee, who is on my team. And then now I want to come down here and see, maybe I want to see what she has for onboarding. And I'm not sure exactly what she has shared with me on onboarding that is a presentation, but let's go ahead and click search and see what comes up. So do you see how it narrowed it down? Now I have a much better list of things to look at. I'm not bombarded with all kinds of things. So don't overlook these little marks right here, because this is a more efficient way, an effective way to find things in your drive. Maybe instead of I want it owned by just me, okay, and I just want to see presentations, and I can hit search, and now it's going to find my presentations that I am the owner of. So it's just a much better way to search your drive. You can search by type, by owner, by name, because I'm going to tell you, people are going to start sharing things and they're going to say, well, did you see this presentation that I sent you? And you're like, ooh, I didn't see it because it just was all coming at me. Then go and search and just search for that person. So it's just a much better way to find, so you're not spending 20 minutes trying to remember what was the name of that file that Kaylee shared with me. I know it was a spreadsheet. I know it was this, but I can't remember. Using that will be a much better use of your time. Okay. The next thing I want to kind of talk to you about besides searching is folders and how you're going to organize that. Because like I said, when I first got started, I just threw things in here because we weren't used to Google. We had not used it before, and it wasn't long before I had a really big mess. So some things I want to show you on here is think about your folder structure, how you want to get this set up and organized. I know I work with one person, and she organizes it and stores things in here by teams that she's working with. You'll notice up here, we have years. So we just started this last year. We've learned, it took us a while, but we learned. So this is all of our stuff from last year's work files that we have in here. And you'll notice here that we've started a new one for this year, and we put it in here. And then Google organizes things alphabetically, but you can force Google to, if you want to have something pop to the top, like that's a numbered thing. So what you want to do is you can either add little icons there in front of your title. You can add underscores, because what Google will do is it puts a number first, but it actually will put the special characters even above that. So let's say that this folder right here that says digital resources, I'm going to show you what I'm going to do. Maybe I really need that up here at the top because it's one that I'm in all the time. And that's kind of why we have those little underscores here, because we're in these daily. So I don't want to have to scroll down and find them. So what I'm going to do is once I make my folder and I want to move it, I can right click on it and I'm going to say, ooh, it doesn't let me rename that because I'm not the owner. Let's try one. Let's see, here's one. I'll do this one since I'm the owner of this one. All right, so I'm going to put a hashtag, or not a hashtag, I'm gonna put that little underscore right there. When I say okay, you see how it popped it further up in my list. So you can do some things that will force Google to move that up in the hierarchy or however you want it. I like to use these little emojis, and on this presentation, I have the link down here at the bottom. It's called Joy Pixels. If you click on that, it will take you to that and you can add it. It's an extension. We'll talk a little more about extensions, but the way that works, let me go over here. I'm going to open up it. Joy Pixels is right up here. And I can see all these little emojis. I can search for little animals. I can do, let's just grab the basketball. So I clicked on that. When I did that, it copied it. Now I'm going to go close that out. Let me add it to this folder. So I'm going to say rename. And I'm actually going to, let's put the little emoji there. And I'm going to do Control V and paste it in. And now when I say okay, oops. Now emojis are a little further down. Did you see how it moved my folder down? So these special characters are more important to Google. So it put those folders, it put them up at the top. Numbers, I think, come next, and then alphabetical order, but it looks like the little emojis go before the alphabetical order. So just play around with that, but I like to use little emojis on my folders. You can see one thing, it's more visually appealing. It stands out to me. So if I'm in my drive and I'm like, oh, I'm looking for my Karen stuff folder, I know I have that little dog. It like pops it to me so I can notice it. So it just makes it more rememberable to me. So you can add emojis. I also like to color code, as you can see here. So to color code a folder, you just right click, you go down and you can just say change color. You are kind of limited on your color coding, but you've got a few options there. So I'll just make that one green, and you see how it made it green. It might not show very well for you all on the screen in Zoom, but it color coded it. So I use color coding. I use the underscore. That's the one I use the most to get things to pop up to the top. And then I also use emojis. Another thing that you can do, let's see, did I start? Now let me tell you, let me go to my drive. I'm going to show you my drive. My drive is massive because I've been in it 8 years now. You will see that it's just scrolling. It hasn't even loaded them all yet. See, it can't even keep up with them all. Well, after a while, I started thinking, man, I need a way to really get to these. So I started using the starred. So now when I go into my drive, if I just click on starred, it hides the ones who are not starred. So now I can only see the ones that are starred, and they're right up here. And it's maybe about 50 folders versus the 200 and something, or however many I have, me seeing all of them, because there's sometimes that maybe I only use that folder once a year. So I don't really even need to have it on here all the time. And just yesterday, I went through here and I right clicked and said, you know what, I'm really not in this folder, so I'm going to remove it from my starred. Now, see how it just completely hid it now because I'm on my starred ones. It's still in there. If I need to get to it, I just click on my drive and I can go see them all, but it narrows down so I'm not overwhelmed, okay? So I'm just seeing the folders that I really work in all the time. I really love the starred feature and using those underscore things there as well. Recent, Recent, I used to use it a lot, but when we started using Schoology, what's going to happen is when you go to recent, every now and then I'll go there and it'll show me what I've been in today. But what starts to happen with Schoology, when the kids submit assignments, they actually will show up in your recent as well. So that started, I don't use it as much as I used to use recent, but it is there and is a way to see exactly what you were in today. But when you're teaching and you have like an intermediate, you have 6 classes and you had 30 kids or 25 kids in each of those, and all of them submitted an assignment. Okay, that's 30 times 6. Woo, I'm 100 and something up there. So that's all going to be in your recent. So recent, I don't use it as much as I used to. Okay. All right. Where were we? Now, another thing about organizing your drive, you can put folders inside folders inside folders. So if you need to move one, you can click and hold, and you can move them around that way. But you can also put them on top of other folders, and it will put that folder and move it inside. I'm not going to do that, but that's something you can do. I don't want that folder in there, but I did put a little GIF in here that we created that shows you how you can drag, move the folders around. You can drop them inside. Another thing you can do is you have in your drive a little triangle, little Q there. If you pop this open and you see how it shows all my drive folders, I can actually click and hold and drag and drop it over here as well. I'm not going to do that, but that's another way of dragging and dropping them and moving them and putting them inside there. Okay. All right. Bookmarks bar. I love the bookmarks bar, but I will tell you it doesn't automatically show. So one thing you're going to want to do, you'll want to go over here to this little, the 3 little dots for the setting. You'll go over to where it says bookmarks, and you will want to make sure you put a little check there that says show bookmarks bar. That's one way to get to it. I think another way is to right click over here up there on the top and just go down and put a little check and make sure you have the show bookmarks bar on. You also want to leave this show apps shortcut. That's this thing right here. I leave the check mark on that one because I want that one to show. Now, I don't use this, this is something new, this reading list. If you don't use it, you can uncheck it and then it will take that off. So that's something you can play around with. But the two that are most beneficial, the apps shortcut and the show bookmarks bar, because once you have it showing up here and you start bookmarking things, like earlier I told you all to bookmark this presentation. I actually bookmarked it and put it in a folder, but let me show you something on your drive here. If you want to bookmark it, that's what I've done up here. See, that's why it has that blue star. Once you bookmark it, you can actually, I edited mine. I'm going to right click on it and edit. And I got rid of it. I think it says my drive. It's been so long since I got rid of it. I don't remember what it says up there, but if you all bookmarked it just now, you would see if you're in your drive and you bookmark it. When something has an icon like this, what I do is, I think it said my drive. Let me show you what happens. You leave those there. Do you see how it takes up about a ½ inch or an inch on the space? Well, I have lots of bookmarks and I don't need it to say my drive because I know that this icon means my drive. So what I did was I just hit backspace and deleted that and hit save so that I had the icon. Anything that has an icon, like Schoology has an icon, so I took out the words Schoology. I remove them if it has like Adobe Spark. I don't need it to say Adobe Spark because I recognize that icon. You can do that if it has an icon that's, some of them start to look like this though. I happen to know that this is Eduphoria, but you don't want them all there without words, because you won't know which is which until you put your cursor on top of it. Does that make sense? Did I hear someone? Does somebody have a question? You feel free to unmute and ask me a question if you need to do it that way versus putting it in the chat, but you can also put it in the chat as well. Any questions so far about bookmarks? I use bookmarks all the time. So that's let me get back up here. Where did I go? Okay. Also on the book.
I'm so sorry to interrupt. I had a question,
Yeah.
But it's not about bookmarks. It was about the topic you were talking about before bookmarks. So when it comes to assigning something in that uses Google Drive, maybe it's a Google slide that's interactive for the students, how would what I'm struggling to understand is, how do I do that? How do I assign that? And
you're going to want to do that in Schoology. Have you gone to the Schoology 101, or there's an introduction to Schoology training through all this? And let me see who's talking. I can't see who's talking.
It's okay. I can go to it after this one. I didn't know if that was something that you had to set up in your Google Drive.
You are going to want to do that. You're going to want to set up your Schoology to your Google Drive. We do have instructions, and I'll show you where they are at the end of this when we go to our digital learning site. But yes, you're going to want to do what's called a Schoology Google Drive assignment, and that will give each kid their own copy of that presentation so they can drag and drop, or they can move. There's just several ways you could do it that way. You can let them create their own Google Drive and submit it to you, but that's what you're going to want to do when you go to giving things to kids. You're going to do everything through Schoology.
Thank you so much.
What campus are you? And who is it? I'm sorry, I can't see.
Klein Forest.
Klein Forest. Yes, you will have a digital learning specialist who is also on that campus that can help you as well when you get to that. Okay, so let's go back to, we talked about organizing our drive. The other thing is I like to use the star because it's faster. You can grab it by the lock and it pulls the URL off and drop it on top of your Bookmarks bar and bookmark it that way as well. I just tend to always grab that little star and do it that way. All right, so bookmarks, we talked about that. Let me try to keep an eye on the time too. What time does this end? Can somebody refresh me? It's 11:30, right? 11:30, okay. All right, let's go on to some other things that are cool. So Chrome tabs. You see I have several tabs up here. Let's say that I accidentally, my favorite shortcut with Chrome is, let's say I'm in class link here and I've been looking at my things, but I accidentally close this out. And then 10 minutes later, I realize I really need to be back in that dashboard. If you use Control-Shift-T, it will pop those tabs, and it won't just stop at this one. Like if I had closed another one out, I can do Control-Shift-T over and over. And actually this brought up tabs I was using earlier in another session. I'm going to close that one out, but Control-Shift-T is like going to be your best friend, because you'll be working and then you close out a tab and then you need to get back into it. So if you don't know that one, Control-Shift-T. Another thing that you'll notice, you'll be in something and you might be on a news site. How many times have you gone to a site and somewhere on the page a video is playing and you're in the classroom and now all the kids can hear your video? If you right click on a tab, there is this thing called mute site. It will mute any videos playing on that. So if you go to a news site to show some kids something in the classroom and there's a video playing, but you don't know where that video is, if you quickly just click on the tab, and you'll know which one is playing because it has a little I think it's a microphone or a little speech megaphone thing. But you can just click on it and say mute site, and it will quickly turn them off. I love that little tip. The other thing is, if I'm on this one right here, I can right click and I can close all my tabs that are over on the right side, the left side, if I need to quickly close out. I work with a girl and we'll go over there and she might have like 50 tabs open. She is the queen of having tabs going across her screen. But anyway, those are just some quick little shortcuts that I use. I love Control-Shift-T. It is my absolute favorite. I will say I use it multiple times a day. All right, the other thing that you may not be aware of is that if you need a quick timer in your classroom, this Omni box up here at the top, you can quickly get to timer. So maybe you need a 5-minute timer. So I'm going to click on that and it will bring it up and you can quickly use that and hit start. Actually, it already started on its own and I can put a timer up. What I also love is, let's say that I need, I don't know, and I haven't been to the movies probably since COVID started, but back in the day when we did go to movies, and maybe I was wanting to go to the movies and I wanted to see movies, the wrong tab here, and my zip code 773, and I hit that, it will quickly show you what is playing on theaters near you. Or maybe you're looking for flights. This is just a quick little thing. Maybe you need dice. You can roll dice. You just can type in the word dice up there, flip a coin. You can do that. You can quickly see the weather, but I love flip a coin. Oh, I don't think I selected the whole thing. Sorry. Flip a coin. How about I spell it right? And this will, there it is. So I can flip heads, tails, it's preparing to flip. So you can do all different things in that Omni box. So threw that in there. Now let's talk more about extensions though, because I love extensions. If you just added Joy Pixels because you saw that link that was in there, you'll notice it didn't automatically show up here. I'm going to go to a new tab just so I don't lose that one. So what I want you to do though, when you start to add extensions, what you're going to do is you're going to use this little puzzle piece. Do you see that little puzzle piece right there next to my name? And you go here and you'll notice it's not showing until you pin it to show up here. You have to add the little pin. See how that one's not on there because I didn't pin it? If you added Joy Pixels and it's not showing for you up here, you might need to click on Manage Extensions right there. And you may need to come over here and turn it on. And then it will be over here for you to select and pin. Okay, so you may need to do that. If you don't pin them, they're not going to show up here at the top. Okay. So I have that in here. I show you the little puzzle piece and then how you need to go. Oh, it looks like my stuff has kind of moved off my boxes a little teeny bit. There we go. All right. But anyway, you do need to make sure you pin that and you'll need to go to Manage Extensions to get them. You can also rearrange them. So you can drag and drop and move them around if you need them in different spots. If you need to take one off, and I'm going to give you a heads up, we allow teachers to add anything they want. Kids do not have that option. They are not allowed to just add extensions. But the thing is that you may find a really cool one that you like, and then you've added it, and then all of a sudden your computer is no longer working correctly. And it could be that it just doesn't play well with Klein settings. So you will need to maybe then go and delete that one. So you can click on that, go back to Manage Extensions, and you can remove it permanently from it here if it's one that is interfering, and that does happen. It happens to me. Sometimes I'll find one, I think, oh, that is a really cool one. I use it for a little bit, and now all of a sudden I can't get into Eduphoria. I can't see things that I used to see, and I will then go and uninstall that to see. Actually, what I normally do first is turn it off to see if that fixes the issue, and then if it does fix that issue, then I'll remove it. Okay. All right. Oh, one thing, you will not be able to remove anything. Like, see this one, how it's ghosted for me. If you don't see the remove button, that's because Klein pushes that one out, and you will not be able to take that one off because it's one that we manage and push to all the teachers. Okay. All right. Let's look at some of my favorite extensions. The one you're going to want to add first, especially if you're ever going to show any YouTube videos in your classroom, is called Adblock Plus. Okay. When I go to YouTube, and let me go to YouTube here. Okay. And I start to play something. You know, I'm into baking, and those French macarons is what I've been baking for the last 3 weeks, learning how to do those. So that's what you're going to. So if I go to play a video here, you're going to notice when I play it, there are no.
Hello there, and welcome back.
Okay. Because Adblock Plus stopped those ads from showing. So if you're going to show videos in a classroom from YouTube, you're going to want to put this on. This is actually one kids can put on their computer as well. And while I'm here, when I click on apps and I go to the web store, do you see where it says it's defaulted? So when you go to the web store, you're automatically going to see you're on the one that all the kids can add. Kids can add anything that they see on this page. All they have to do is click on it, and then it will allow them to install it. So you might want to go here too, because you could get Adblock Plus there as well. As Cami is one you're going to want to use with kids. And the kids can put it on. So anything that's here, kids can put on. Kids cannot, they can search, and it's only going to show them what Klein is going to let them see. Teachers, on the other hand, have free, they can search and find anything. So you can search in here and install anything. But like I said, there's no way for us to test if all these apps and extensions are going to work. So there will be a time you will install something and your computer starts doing funky things. Go uninstall the last apps and extensions that you put on, because that's probably going to be the issue. And if you put in a help desk ticket, they're probably going to ask you, did you recently install anything? Read Write is one of them that teachers will think, oh, I need to use that, and it does not work well with Eduphoria, and you will start having issues. So we don't use Read Write, but you'll see it in there, and you'll think, oh, I might want to use that one. We use Snap and Read. This is the next one, and I'm going to show you how Snap and Read works and why it is such a great one to use. And the kids can install this one. It will translate. It's great for our EL students, our students who they may understand English, but they can't read English, so they need something read to them. Your dyslexic students that need that additional support of having something read. We do have, see where it says here, how to install and use. There is a video tutorial that y'all can go back and watch later that will show you how to install it and use it with your kids. But let me show you how this works. I'm going to go to Channel 13 News. All right, so I'm on this site. And so let's say that I'm here and the kids are on this, and maybe they need something read to them, okay? So what they can do is up here, because I've installed it, it's right here. I'm going to click on it. Now I have mine turned off because let me show you, when I turn it on, you're going to notice how it puts this little bar here. I don't like to leave that on because unless I'm going to use Snap and Read, but let me show you the beauty of this. So, I don't know, I hate to read about somebody, but we'll just go to this one. All right, so if I click on this little speaker, now I can come over here and click.
Gerald Williams is scheduled in a courtroom this morning.
See how it will read to those kids. The other cool thing they can do is underneath that is this, and they can drag it. Maybe they only need this box read to them. Okay, so they can select text that they need read to them. Give it a second because it takes it a little bit longer on this one.
Gerald Williams is scheduled in a courtroom this morning.
And now it will only read what they selected. So maybe a student only needs, I'm on this, because maybe they can read this, but maybe they just don't know this word. So they could highlight and select just what they needed read to them.
Morning.
That sort of thing.
Do.
So that's a great feature. The other thing is the translation. Now the translation doesn't show up until they turn that feature on. I'll show you that real quick. But also what I want to show you is, you can't see it, but it's showing me a little number 7 on the extension. That's because this website is written at a 7th grade level. So if you need to know what is the readability for this website, because I want to use it in my elementary classroom, you can see what grade level that's going to be. So I'm going to go here and I'm going to go to options. The cool thing about this, I've got mine set to translate into Spanish, but look at the languages. There is no way we can hire teachers that speak every language that's out there in the world. So maybe we've got a kid who speaks Urdu. All right, you can go here and you can find Urdu or Hindi or whatever it is you're looking for that student. They can find their native language. All right, so I have mine on Spanish. So let me go back to that website. When I hit translate, I can highlight. Now watch what happens. Oops, I may have hit too much. Do you see what it just did to that website? It put that in their native language. Now, when I hit this speaker,
Gerald Williams está programado en una sala del tribunal esta mañana.
read it to them in their native language. So it's a great leveling tool for our students that are ELs, our dyslexic students that need things read to them. So Snap and Read is one of these extensions, and see how it keeps that open. I'm going to go ahead and turn mine off. The other thing is when you sign in, let me sign out and I'm going to go sign back in. You want to make sure you sign in with Google because this is the one we pay for. And so it's connected to your Klein Google account. So that's what you will do when you go to get Snap and Read. Same thing with the kids. They will sign in. They have a Google account. They will sign in with their Google. All right. So Adblock Plus, great for eliminating ads. It also eliminates ads on like newspaper pages. I'm going to turn this back off. The ads are not showing, and it shows me 8 right now. It is blocking 8 ads on this website. Okay. Snap and Read, we already looked at why that one is so important. And another one I threw in here is Fresh Start. I like Fresh Start because as a teacher, this is not one for kids, but this would be one for you. If you're researching and trying to find all these sites and things that you want to use with your students, like I'm in all of these tabs. You see, I have all these tabs open. If I hit Fresh Start, it's showing me all that I have, and I can name this. So if I've been doing research and trying to find some math websites to use with the kids, and I've got 10 that I have found, I could name this Math Sites on Addition or Math Sites on Multiplication or whatever I want to name it. And then all I'm going to do is hit save, and it will save this. So see here, I was doing something with whiteboard.chat, which if that's another one I'll throw out. That's a website, but I would say check that one out because it's my favorite whiteboard site. If I need to see what those are, if I click that, you see how it opened it? It brought all those tabs back up. I was logged into Facebook because he has a group on Facebook for whiteboard.chat users, and they are constantly posting those. Oops. All right. But anyway, so Fresh Start is one for teachers to use as a way to manage your tabs, save your open tabs so that you can easily get back to them. Like in a month from now, if you're like, wow, I really wish I had saved all those tabs, you can go back to Fresh Start and find all those tabs and get back to them. Okay, now, so those are my favorite extensions. I do have links to them so y'all can install them later. But make sure you're signed into your Klein account before you start saving them, or it won't save them to the right spot. The last place I want to take you all, I'm going to put this in the chat in case there's someone not. This is our, you didn't see Joy, okay, if you didn't see Joy Pixels, and I don't know, you may have already heard my answer on that. The reason you didn't see it is because you haven't turned it on. You do have to, once you add it, you might have to go to manage extensions and turn it on. So installing it, but you may have to turn it on and then go back to here and put the little puzzle piece. Does that make sense? I think that is probably why you weren't seeing it. Okay, now let's go to this website. This is our digital learning department has put this in. If you're looking for trainings, like you're doing NEO right now and you're getting all kinds of good trainings, you can go to this. I would go ahead and bookmark this site so that you can get back to it later. But let's say you're looking for, well, our summer courses are over, but we had a list here, so you could click here and you could see all of our courses that we were offering. Webinars, Kaylee and I, last year, it was just Kaylee and I. We've since added Emily. But look, you can see here's our schedule right now of webinars that we're going to have. We have them in the evenings. It was a big hit last year. You have time to get home. We give you an hour credit, even though it's only 45 minutes, but you have time to sit on your computer or on your couch, and maybe you've got your computer and you can watch while you're sitting in your pajamas. We don't care how you come, drinking your favorite adult beverage. But here's what we've already started picking some topics. We're going to start off with creating an engaging Schoology. We're going to do one on how to use data trackers in your classroom, because that is a big push you're going to hear this year with Klein. Later in October, we're going to start looking at how to use rubrics and mastery in Schoology. So just different things. And we also post our webinars. So you can go back to this, and our Kicking It on Demand is what we called it last year, Kicking It. You can see if you want to go back and start watching. Here's one Schoology, no tricks, all treats, just our favorite tips with using Schoology, Nearpod, discussion boards. So you can actually go back and re-watch these now. So we have this. The other thing that's on here, let me see what we've put in here. New to Klein. That's going to be for you all. There's a page here. We are going to embed, like this webinar I'm doing today. We're recording these, and you're going to have them here that you can see. We're going to post the webinars, okay? I'm doing Google right now. We have a Google checklist. You can go look at this. We are constantly updating this and working on it. Right there. So we're starting to embed. Each one of these is a link to a YouTube video like how to sign in to Chrome for syncing. We've got that one. How to use the web store. All these videos that we have started making in here. I am constantly working on these. So they'll be added in here as well. Okay. All right. We have 2 minutes. Can I send the link? Oh, yeah, the link. Yes, don't forget to do your attendance. That's on the last slide. I'm getting ready to put that on there. But here it is. It's this on demand. Let me paste it in again into the chat. There it is, the on demand. That's the learning site right there. The last thing we want to do is the attendance. It looks like somebody has posted it in the chat. You can also get to it if you're on the presentation by clicking this link, and it will take you to that attendance form as well. You have to do that and the Zoom attendance. They'll also check that to make sure that you were on for the amount of time, because it does let us know that. But anyway, any questions? I know that was kind of a lot. Try not to get overwhelmed. You've got time. You can always, like I said, go back to our on demand here. We've got Skyward stuff on here. If you're looking for, and I'm not sure if we've updated because we've got some new Skyward lists. I don't think y'all have access to Skyward yet. None of the teachers do, but we've got stuff here that you can go and look at if you like. I don't remember how to submit my attendance. You can go watch that and see how to do that from here. So we've got all of this. If you want to meet the team, up on our homepage here, if you're looking to see who is the digital learning specialist that supports my campus, they're there as well. Please post the URL again for the Zoom. What Zoom session, Marcia? Please post the URL again. The attendance. Oh, got it. Let me find it. It's right up here. It's in the chat right up here at the top. If you scroll up, but I'll post it again. There you go. Oop, that went to, sorry, let me do this again. I sent that just to Vicki. I don't know how it got to just Vicki. I hope it wasn't doing that earlier. Oh, the on demand was going just to Vicki as well. So sorry. Let me do that one. So there's the attendance. There's our on demand. There you go. You all have a great year. Oh, we're 1 minute over. I'm going to keep you. Y'all have a great year in Klein. I have been in Klein for 31 years. And before that, I was in Kentucky for 6. So this is my 37th year. I couldn't remember. It's 37, 38. Yep, 37. All right. Y'all have a great school year. Email me if you need me. My email, if you go to that site, well, I don't know, that's not my email. But if you go to this, let me put my email. My email is just kgoebel@kleinisd.net. I have been in the district so long, I don't have a number. I was in the district before we ever started using numbers. So it's just kgoebel@kleinisd.net.